Welcome back to my channel. It's been 2 weeks since I uploaded a video, so here I am uploading a video. And I want to talk about what is up with me. So I think I always spoke about like making aliyah, and when you make aliyah, like what to do with the government and what to expect. But I think one thing that I did not talk about is schools. Right now, I have a daughter that's in the last year of school. It is so different than in America about high schools. When my oldest was in high school in America, she actually went to an Orthodox school that did not have diplomas at the time. It wasn't accredited. Now it is, thank God, but it wasn't accredited then. And I didn't really care. Because I was kind of like in that circle of community where the diploma, what would she do with it? We didn't believe in like higher education and things like that. But thank God she came to high school here in Israel, and then she was able to live the life here. I'm so sorry about the bags in my eyes. I'm just like literally not sleeping well. Lately, I feel like I'm always like ready to run outside the door. Apparently, there were a lot of bombs, rockets that were blown out of the sky over Shabbat and maybe Erev Shabbat. But I thought it was thunder. You know, like it didn't, like the weather looks really weird outside right now. So I kind of thought it was thunder, and like literally I have not been sleeping well. Back to the schools. So here we are. I have a son in yeshiva. He basically is in a yeshiva where they do not learn secular subjects. So that means that the last time that he took a secular subject like math or English, forget English, no English, but math was 8th grade. Now, you would think he have like an 8th grade education of math, but thank God my son is the type of person that he likes to learn pitom, like suddenly something interesting. And so his math skills are really on par with another 10th grader, I would say. My daughter is finishing this last year. So this is the year that they start deciding if they're going to, maybe probably last year's when you start the paperwork and getting the rub. But like if you want to go into the army, if you want to do Shirut Lumi, and if you go into the army, you have to do anything except show up when you get the letter of the date that they tell you to and follow the instructions. But if you don't do the army, girls, females, I think males need like, I don't know, they have to be unfit mentally, I think, or physically to not go into the army. But a girl, I think, and some would say it only works with the religious girls, like the secular girls still have to go into the army. But I don't think that makes sense because you could do Shirut Lumi, which is service to the country. There's like lots of government, lots of medical things that the girls sign up for, which is under Shirut Lumi, and I think they do it for 2 years. Now, here's the problem. I don't really know. I'm just like listening to everybody and trying to understand what to do. And I am so overwhelmed. Yesterday we had a Asafat Horim over Zoom, a parent-teacher conversation with different bodies of the school and these different organizations that's under Shirut Lumi, or what to do for your daughter if she's going to go into the army and how they help them and blah, 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 blah. And my husband and I are listening to this like we are listening to Charlie Brown's Teacher, right? Because it's all in Hebrew. My husband, thank God, understands. I screenshot everything so that I can go later and look at what they were showing on the screen so I can see. Now, and here's the other thing. My daughter's in a panimiyah, in a dorm school. So at the school, they help her with everything, like every step of the way, what she wants to do, they help her with. So I'm happy about that. But I just feel like as a parent, I want to make sure that what she chooses is something that I agree with. Like there's a thing called the Mechina, which is a program before you go into the army, but it teaches you like a lot of things. to get you ready for the army, because the army just does not have any rachmanut, no mercy, I think, when you go in. And you can't say you sick, you got cramps, you can't say you have a headache, nothing. You just suck it up, kind of thing. And that's not my daughter. Like, I think that it's not for her. So Mechina helps you and prepares you to go into the army, from what I understand. So she comes to me and she's like, well, maybe Mechina, and then, I don't have to actually do. I'm like, yeah, no, I think if you're going to do Mechina, you have to go into the army. And why would you go into that program when some other girl is clearly going into the army and you're taking that spot? So anyway, so we're looking at Shirut Leumi for her, and we're trying to make sure that that she's choosing the right derech in Shirut Leumi. They go and they stay in in an apartment with a couple of other girls, and then they live on their own there, and they buy their own food, and it's like they're living on their own, but they don't pay rent for it, and they go and they work for whatever derech, that way that they decide to choose. Like, for example, there is Ma'adat, which is like ambulance and medical and things like that. And my daughter's friends are looking at that direction. And I'm like to my daughter, that's so not you. Why would you go in that area? Maybe do, like, she wanted to do something with like Revacha, which is like social work. So I thought something like that would more be what she wants, because Pam, at one time, she was going through things as a teenager, and she saw how so many Haredi girls and Haredi kids were doing things behind their parents' back that was not okay. And their parents thought their kids were so frum, they dressed apart, but my daughter was like, Mommy, they have no clue what their kids are doing. And you see, like, a lot of times these posters go up and of kids missing, and they look so Haredi, right? And that's the picture that they show. But that is not how their kid looks, like, later, like when they're found. They don't look anything like that. They're like, and it's not even like necessarily, like in America, people say like off the derech. In Israel, like off the derech is like you don't dress the part of the community. You still keep Shabbat, you still keep kashrut, you still, yeah. But that's not off the derech. Off the derech is like you aren't religious, but cloud. And these kids, it's not that they're not religious, it's just that they're not in the same framework as their parents, and they're hiding it. And they're doing things that they were told, like, can't do. And then they like, okay, so, whatever, I drink a little bit, whatever, so it's okay. And then they realize nothing happened to them. And then they start doing other stuff. And oh my gosh, my daughter tells me all these stories from before. And I'm just like, wow. So it really touched her heart that like they have no one to talk to. And they're like different organizations that help teens at risk. That's what it's called, Teens at Risk. And it isn't like in America, Teens at Risk, which is like drugs and things like that. It's teens at risk that fall through the system and have no help in living in society in the way that they should. They just fall through the cracks. And Israel definitely helps you in so many ways to stay on track. But you can lose your way. And that's at risk. And not like lose your way that you do drugs and things, God forbid, chas v'shalom. It's lose your way in living a productive life. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that would be something that she would want to do. So I feel like that's where she should be looking at for Shirut Leumi. Anyway, it's very overwhelming for me, and it's new, and I don't want her stuck. Or she don't have to do anything. She doesn't do Shirut Leumi. She doesn't do army. Like there's a lot of Haredi girls, they just like finish high school and then they like go work as a genenet, or they I don't know, work at some job at 30 shekels an hour, waitress, I don't know, some ice cream shop, Makolet, like the store, or I don't know, something like that. And it's like, you went through all those years, you did the Bagrut, those that got a Bagrut, and for what? Like, You make 30 shekels for the rest of your life because you don't have like anything else to help you make more money. And it doesn't mean you need college. In Israel, you don't necessarily need a college degree. You can make a lot of money by using your brain and getting involved in other things to help you make money. However, in the Haredi school system, they don't prepare you for that. You're supposed to walk like a duck and act like a duck. That's the Haredi system. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But when your kid becomes an adult, they're starting all over of learning how to survive and manage. And why? I don't want that for my daughter. I want her to get as many skills as she possibly can so that she can make a parnasa, that she can make an income. When she decides to get married, that she marries somebody that's also like her, that can make a parnasa and make money and have all different ways of making money, and not just making 30 shekels an hour, or, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's hard work. So I just feel like the Shirut Leumi is the way for her to go, because she could take those skills and she could use it later in something else. It's very overwhelming when they're in grade school. You want to choose like the right place for Gan Shalosh, Gan Arba, Gan Chova for them. And the main thing is that the teacher, for me, was Hamuda, Motek, those kind of words you want to hear. A hug, no gavura, like none of that. And then when they hit grade school, like Kita Aleph through Kita Chet, Zion, you want to make sure that the school has like lots of resources for your child, that if your child isn't learning on the level that they should, that there should be resources at the school, not that you have to go outside the school to get a tutor or have your, God forbid, which is what happened with my daughter, pull them out of class to take them to a tutor that you paid for, right? And then have this label that you aren't a good learner. That's not okay. But if the school is the type of school that has the resources to help your child, which there are many schools like that, unfortunately in the Haredi system, it's hard to come by, because when you go there, you need to just do the work. You just do it, and you do it, and you do well, and if you don't, oh my gosh, I don't know. Those are things that you think about. And then high school, I think, is a whole different ball game. It's so different. And I'm just speaking about girls, because I can't necessarily speak about boys, because my son is in the system. He's in the Haredi system. He's happy in it. And he's happy with the way that he's going. And when he finishes, not that they ever finish, but we want our son to be able to make some kind of money. So when he gets married, that his wife will have the privilege that I have and that my other daughter has, that we're stay-at-home moms. We do not work, which is not the norm in Israel. The mothers work also outside the home, and that's okay too. But he needs to be making money that he can provide for her, and not that she's working while he's learning, which is the Haredi system. And even though we're part of it, I know that we aren't like our Israeli community people in that way. So that's something else to think about. And I guess I'll talk about that in 2 years, but right now I'm just trying to make sure that both of them are understanding that they need to think about long term and what they're going to do with their lives, and that the government provides so many resources. The problem is that as an Olah, you don't know those, or you're not aware of them, or you're not sure what's the right thing for your family, because there's so many choices and so much information that you can get lost and overwhelmed. And sometimes you just want somebody to hold you by the hand and say, do this, do that, do this, do that, and yeah, so that's it. That's what I'm going to talk about today. And I appreciate you watching this, and have a great day. And I hope everyone's thinking about making Aliyah. And if you're not thinking about making Aliyah, make sure you contribute to the country in some way financially. There's so many organizations that you can give to. There are families that could use, the holidays are coming up, the Chagim, and families could use money. And what you spend for your Chag or your Shabbat, we only require even not even half of that, just a bit. So that's how you can help the country and you can help the people here. Thanks so much for watching and have a great week. Shavua Tov.